welcome to StoryHive On Location, Calgary. I'm your host, Nicolas, and I'm thrilled to bring you a new episode produced with the support of TELUS STORYHIve. Stay tuned, because I can't wait to show you what comes next here in the beautiful city of Calgary. This morning, I'm very lucky to be joined by Undecided. We've got Pinky, Jesse, Mo, Julio, and Orain back there. And tell me, what's your role in the band? Let's start with Pinky.
I'm the singer.
I play trumpet.
I play the keyboard and the piano and sing as well.
I'm the drummer. I'm the bassist and also put the camera for our content creation.
The media person too. He's got two roles.
Big time.
Awesome. I wanted to know, guys, when I heard about the name, I have to ask, how'd you guys make up your mind about the name Undecided?
So it started off as like a collective from the Alcove Center for the Arts, where we're just kind of jamming and having a lot of chemistry. And we wanted to put on shows and everything, but we never really like clicked on a name. So for the longest time, our group chat was just Undecided. And by the time that tickets had to be printed for our first show, we had to label ourselves as like...
Wait, you didn't have a name?
We didn't have a name before
the first show.
Yeah. So our first show was actually called the Undecided Show because we wanted to have like comedians, we wanted to have like a magic act and just kind of lean into the whole undecided thing.
Nice.
And so we're just kind of like, we're just gonna roll with that and just never introduce ourselves as like a band. And then we actually had a sit down meeting at our place to actually want to decide on a name. And we're like,
down. That's serious.
Well, because
like you hear a sit down, you hear like mafia movies.
Exactly.
A sit down.
Lighting,
That's real. Yeah.
But no, we sat down and we're like just shooting some names. We're like, this, that, and we're like, no, we can't decide on the name. So we decided on Undecided.
I think when I first joined the group on WhatsApp, you guys had the group name like as Undecided. And so obviously when we're selling tickets for our first show, it was Undecided. And people ask us like, oh, what's your name? And I'm like, me and John would be like, Undecided. And everyone loved it. Everyone would laugh. And I'm like, okay, we need to keep this because it's memorable. Yeah. You can't forget Undecided. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just so great that it's one word.
Exactly. So I think that was what really like pushed me to be like, okay, guys, we got to keep this. Yeah. We got to keep this.
Right. We've got 5 members here. Who are the other 4 or 3? Three. So who are the other 3? Shout them out.
Shout out John, Sean, and Tatiana. I was like, who am I missing?
And what are their roles? What do they do?
So John is a rapper. Sean plays the guitar. He's also our producer. And Tatiana, she sings and plays percussions.
Now I want to know more about you individually. What would you say is your most strong opinion, your strongest opinion when it comes to music?
Get Mo on this. That's gonna be.
The one opinion that maybe majority of the band would say, hey, I don't agree with that opinion when it comes to music.
Majority of the band, I think we dislike the word genre. Like we started off with vibe and we started off with a lot of like jam sessions and we started off with a lot of just like playing and bouncing off each other. Julio would start a drum beat and like Orain will start playing a bass. And we're like, ooh, that's something. And then we feed off that. Or Pinka will start saying something. Jesse will be playing the trumpet, like warming up, and we're like, keep warming up, keep doing that. Like we jump into it. So I think we really like Undecided was meant to be as a name and as a band. Because as we start as an approach, because when we started, it was very much, that was our approach. It wasn't like, hey, what do we want to do today? We just started playing. We just started, we don't care what this genre is. It feels good to us. So we're going to keep going.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So actually, like, it was really interesting because like before Mo, we were trying to get a keyboardist and we had like 3 people and stuff like that and just didn't really fit. And once Mo joined, everything is just smooth and the music is just click and we just make like making music, like a lot of music. So I think based on that, we just click, I guess, playing instrumentally, and think that's our kind of like our base to play together.
Gotcha.
One more thing. You said a strong opinion. John puts ketchup on pasta, and we all vehemently disagree with that. That's about the most controversial thing in the band. So
Coming soon.
it's a good thing he's not here because we'd be roasting his ass. But
Yeah.
it's, there you go.
That's a pretty. That's out there. That's out there
it's
for
very-
sure. That's
yes.
controversial.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's very unique. It's a very unique piece of identity, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you ever need like an album name,
Oh, God.
ketchup on pasta. There you go. That's perfect for it.
Hey man, that actually could go kind of hard. Like, yo, beat that ketchup on pasta.
What is your background before Undecided? How long have you guys been in the music gig?
Rain, you gotta start this one because you're the papa.
Yeah.
The OG.
I don't know. They just labeled me as a papa. But
It's on record now.
yeah,
It's stamped.
I mean, I started off as a photographer and a videographer before I play music. But I do play bass on the church, so I guess that's how I learned how to play bass. And then I think it's a month before Mo joined, I kept getting an invite to join the rehearsal for the band, and that's how I started playing bass for the Undecided.
And you play some drums too.
Yeah, I play drums, but we have a better drummer here.
So you knew Mo beforehand, and that's how you got introduced to the band?
I mean, I think I know pretty much majority of the band
Okay.
before Mo. 'Cause I think Mo joined last, right?
I was the last,
Yeah. So we all like friends. We all met during the Alcove Jam. And I think
Gotcha.
that's how like the beginning of the band being formed, because everyone is like click with the vibe, and like how everyone's like carried themselves, and then like the color of the music, the vocals, the way people play their instruments. I think that's more important than like having those qualifications, like degree, because
Definitely. Yeah, you gotta have that chemistry.
yeah.
No, but I think you fit the role of bass player pretty well, because all the bass, all the. Well, you fit that. If you want, you fit that one pretty well.
Get the bass.
But a lot of the bass players I've met are very quiet, very serious, very like focused. You just seem like that guy. Give off that vibe.
He's the black cat,
He's also got a lot of dad jokes as well too. Orain is the dad joke connoisseur of the group. Yeah, Orain is the dad joke connoisseur of the group.
Yes.
That's baseless.
If you wanna throw some,
God,
if you wanna throw some dad jokes in there throughout the interview, feel free to do so.
Definitely.
He said that's a baseless accusation.
Pass me that bass right there.
Yeah, exactly.
We need you on the drums when he throws in. Just,
Yeah. For my background, I work in the architecture industry, and I previously thought that was like my life's passion, my life's goal, but and I always played drums like throughout, but it was only until I came to Calgary and started playing at the Alcove, and started connecting with like-minded musicians that passion very quickly shifted. I still work in the industry to make ends meet and afford all the drum expensive gear, because that shit is not cheap. But yeah, I think I find myself kind of like more and more just stepping, like wanting music to be like the main thing, and leaving that old version of me behind, because it's kind of just put a lot of stress and a lot of student debt and a lot of time wasted, in my opinion.
well, you get to release that stress by playing the drums.
Absolutely.
All that stress from architecture, keeping those buildings standing up.
yeah.
You get to knock it.
Yeah.
Too much, but
Well, listen.
different conversation.
Yeah. We can talk about it.
You
later.
You get to knock down that stress on the drum.
Absolutely.
And you said you came to Calgary. Where would you live before?
Yeah, I lived in Ottawa for most of my Ottawa Gatineau. Originally from Quebec, but I've lived there.
You're all over the place.
A little bit, yeah. I did my my master's in Vancouver and then came to Calgary. Wow. So I've been all across Canada a little bit. But yeah. Like so Tatiana, the other member of the band, is my partner, and we met in Ottawa. But she's from Calgary, so she's kind of dragged my ass here for the better, you know. But yeah, that's kind of, and also, you know, to that to that point, like just having that breadth of experience across the country, I think has exposed me to a lot of different perspectives, different genres, different, you know, vibes, different.
I thought we hated that word, genre.
We do.
We exposed me to it. I'm not gonna like say that we fit into a genre, but I did listen to a lot of different things, and by virtue of being in these different places, you know. So I do think that like that's another thing that kind of brought us all together. Is just all of our collective lived experiences, the differences of our experiences have, I think, has enriched the band greatly, but also has made us not really been able to like decide on something, which is, I think, a strength. You know.
And were you part of music scenes in other cities before?
I was actually more part of the music scene in Vancouver during my studies there.
Okay.
I was with a band that was briefly titled called Marlowe Come Home, and we kind of played a couple of gigs here and there. You know what I mean? Just like a couple of things. That was like my first foray into actually like gigging and being, you know, comfortable like fighting stage fright. That was my first time playing in front of a crowd for like, I don't know, 15 years, you know? So I think just getting that experience and then bringing that kind of like composure to Calgary, I think has, you know, it's benefited me greatly, because now I can't wait to get on stage. I love it. It's my comfort zone, you know? And I think everybody also feels that way too, you know? It's just, it's so fun being on stage, all of us, you know, we're just having a blast. But yeah, I would say that's probably where I played most of my music prior to Undecided.
And how did the music scene change between cities? How does it compare from Calgary to Vancouver that you've noticed?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I mean, you can also maybe speak to
the Harvard music scene.
Yeah, to the Harvard music scene. But weren't you like you were in Regina a little bit, right?
I was.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe you can speak to that. I'll speak a little bit to Vancouver.
Sure.
So, Vancouver has a very thriving music scene. But the issue is that, in my experience, is that like things are very siloed. You know, it's very cliquish. Like it's tons of different pockets of music, but you kind of have to get in somehow. Have to know somebody to get to jam with people, and it feels very exclusive. Whereas in Calgary, it feels extremely inclusive. Like everybody knows each other. Everyone's just kind of like playing for each other a little bit. You know, like just yesterday we were playing for another artist called Polo Show. We were kind of filling in, Mo and I. Nice. Yeah, and like they've, you know, some people have borrowed Pinky and John's vocals for rap tracks, you know, and Arain has played bass for other people. Jesse, you've played trumpet, you know, for other little gigs here and there. It's just like it cross pollinates all throughout, and that's an extremely exciting thing to be part of. But yeah, Mo, if you want to speak to Regina a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Shout out Regina, man. The Queen City. Anyways, I guess a bit of background as far as before jumping into like the music scene in Regina. I'm Nigerian originally. A lot of two other members in the band are Nigerian, so shout out Niger. I moved to Saskatchewan with my family, and you know, went to high school and joined the choir as a way to kind of get to meet friends and people. And that took off. Like, you know, the high school choir competed in a bunch of like different choral competitions, which took us to Anaheim, and you know, won a bunch of awards to that. And then from there, I started doing barbershop singing, like the old school quartet singing with the straw hats.
Like, hello, my baby.
Exactly.
Hello, my honey.
Yeah. I can sing the whole lead to that if you want me to, but that's a different story. So a lot of harmonies. But before that, in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians grow up quite religious, and even in school, there's a lot of religion introduced. And I remember learning how to play the organ in church, and then like the school. This is an interesting fact. Every morning in most Nigerian schools, there's an assembly. So you sing a praise song, you know, the principal or the headmaster or headmistress will give announcements, and then you march to your classrooms, each different class.
Yeah, in Colombia would kind of be the same way.
Same thing as well, too. That's very similar.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear that, because there will be music, you know, there's either a sort of marching or whatever. And I remember the school had a piano, and I wanted to play that, so I learned how to play it just so I could be the one playing for the school. So moving here, took that into choir and learning about harmonies and stuff, and being self-taught and just curious about all the different sounds. That's where my background came from. So the Regina music scene for me was primarily just being choral and barbershop influence. But then I started getting into playing the piano and like composing stuff for people here and there behind the scenes. So yeah,
Nice. Yeah,
very
yeah.
different from Calgary for sure. I'd say so. Yeah.
And do you feel that have those experiences from playing piano influenced, your music right now? Like your experience as a kid?
100%. And you guys can speak to this too as a band. Like, I think when I first joined, there was a lot of songs that already existed that we were kind of shaping up. And then when we started doing more of that vibey, like we started playing, like I said, a lot of the vibe and a lot of the emotion. So there were some days I'll come to rehearsal and it just feels like very mellow, very like some of those like grungy type vibe. And there were some days where it was very happy and we were just like, the little kids playing in the playground and like that kind of vibey. Some of that and a lot of that I think was not planned and not forced. It was just conscious, it just comes out. Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about, how sometimes some bands will borrow Pinky or John's vocals, but having your experience in choir, do your vocals also come in for this band or for some other bands?
Yeah, vocals coming for this band. I haven't done anything yet in Calgary vocal-wise for other bands. Definitely open to that, but I definitely do for Undecided for sure. Harmonies and all that stuff. I mean, everyone here is pretty talented, so I don't have to do much, to be honest. Like, we don't have to go too in depth because, we'll start singing a note and Jesse's harmonizing on it, Pinky's doing it, Tatiana's in the back. Even everyone, Julio and Orain and Sean, they sing as well too. John, let's not. We'll just keep the. I'm just kidding. But like everybody will sing, so yeah. I think we have a couple of songs and we've done a couple like jam out sessions, and I think as the band progresses, we're gonna have different albums with different vibes, and I think I can foresee us having like a very choral, choir, harmony based track or album in the future for sure.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen for sure.
Yeah.
Does the rest of the band agree, or is that more of your personal project? Yeah.
I'm sure to say.
100%. Yeah, for sure. We really agree. Yeah, I guess from my background, I've been in a choir, church choir as well. I went to Catholic school, so kind of like had to go church choir and stuff like that. I was started in grade 3, but I was always picked as the harmonizer. I was in alto, so I was never being a solo. And then I went to marching band as a trumpeter. I was also the harmonizer, so I've never really like being the solo. So I thought like, a lot of people like playing trumpet and stuff like, oh, do the solo and stuff like that, but I think my strength is more like the harmonizer, which is, I think it works because we have 8 people in the band. If everyone want to do the solo, it's just gonna be a mush. So I'm glad, I think like everyone in the band is really, they know what to pick, they know what to play. So even like the vocal and stuff like that, sometimes I do harmony too, or sometimes I harmonize with trumpet with Pinky's vocal and stuff.
We gotta say that when she does solo, she's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Always blows me off for sure.
Yeah.
My background, I'm also Nigerian. 2, 3, 4. I was in choir, went to Catholic school, and then I changed. I was also in choir. And then I moved here. Originally, when I moved to Canada, the plan was to be a doctor. My mom wanted me to be a doctor, as most Nigerians want their children to be either doctors, lawyers, whatever, just something like a high profession. I also act. I love acting. I love arts in general, but the 3 main ones I do are acting, singing, and dancing. And I always say I faked my life because I faked because I had to come to Canada, man. I had to make it work. And when I came here, it was only in 2020, start of COVID, that I finally got the chance to to speak up for myself and be like, yo guys, I want to do art. So I went to theater school in U of C. And after theater school, I met a friend who introduced me to some of the band members, like Sean. I think that was the first time I came to you guys' place. That was how I met you guys. And then from there, that was like my journey into music. So I technically started my music journey with Undecided. So yeah, so
Incredible,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. But growing up, my sister, I was like her little minion, and she would always force me to sit down and sing with her. So she kind of like trained me musically, and I didn't like it because I wanted to do my own thing. You know, I wanted to act like in my little corner, but I'm so grateful for her because now it's like I can. Like she just trained my ear. Like I always tell people like I kind of have perfect pitch. Like when I'm listening to things, like
All those karaoke nights paid off.
it really did, man. Like it really did. And sometimes I go to bed and I'm like, yo, like
I'm the shit.
I'm no. Like I thank her. Like I'm really grateful for her. Like in my heart, because if she never did that, like I wouldn't have this gift. Like I wouldn't have like been trained like that. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
And
reason I'm in the band as well too.
oh yeah. So how I met Mo, we had a dance thing for Kids Daniel. Shout out Kids Daniel. Well, actually no. I take that back. Yeah. I met Mo. We were dancing for this show. And he told me, he was like, oh, I play the keys and I want to do more in music. And I was like, yeah, we just started this band. Like, come check us out. I don't know if it's your vibe. I don't know if you like it. But I don't know why I was so confident. I didn't know this man from anywhere. Like, I hadn't heard anything he played, like nothing. But something in my heart just told me, invite him out, let him just come. Yeah. And that was when he came. And the first day he played with us, I was like, yo, you're coming back, right? Like, you're in the band. I literally said, I was like, you're in the band, right? Like, you know that.
they made you sign a contract
It's
immediately.
against my will.
Like,
Whoever's watching.
it was fate.
Yeah, but that's an incredible experience that you guys were able to meet and apply your skills somewhere else.
Yeah.
And look where it's led you guys. It's been what, a year?
A year.
A year and a few months, yeah.
A year and a few months, huh?
Yeah.
How do you guys support yourselves as artists?
Oh, I guess, well, all of us, we have full-time jobs. I believe everyone have a full-time job. So that would, I guess, makes it easier. But also, before that, last year we had space in Alcove that we could rehearse. So it was free. So we were lucky in that sense. So we didn't have to take money of our pockets and stuff like that. I guess we also make money from the gigs and then stuff like that. So we're building up money from that we can support ourselves, our band, to just do marketing or like rehearse and stuff. So we're lucky that we don't have to use our individuals' money to this band.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I do graphic design. So yeah.
Yeah, one of my questions was, is there anything that you guys do on the side that plays into the band? Like, we know you take all that stress from architecture and then you just boom, 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 you know, destroy using the drums. You release it.
Yeah, like when you're asking that question, is it like side hobbies that we bring into the band, or like
Yeah, or how, you know, how your career, how your life outside of the band impacts your style, impacts your music composition, impacts the way you play, impacts what inspires you when it comes to the music?
I think that that's a good question. Like, I think that for me, I said previously, like, oh, you know, studying architecture is a waste of time. It's not a waste of time so much as that, like, it's just kind of a passion realignment for me. You know, I did think that like it brought a lot. It brought me a greater attention to detail that I find myself like noticing in how I'm playing, in how I'm like thinking about the songs and what kind of moments, you know, should be that. Like, it's a greater deal of focus. And just kind of thinking about what the end user experience, right? Like, you know, that sounds very corporate, but thinking about it, like the stage, you know, the stage is a different space than what the audience perceives, right? Like, what we feel very critical of ourselves, like for missing this or something like that, the people, you know, that are witnessing us play, they're having a great time. They're just like flabbergasted. Like, that's what we hope for. And there's kind of like thinking about, oh, what's going to connect with the audience? What do we like to play, of course, but then what's like a moment that makes people go crazy? It's stuff like that, thinking about those kind of details. I think like I feel like personally very perceptive to that, and like I want to hone in on those kind of moments. It makes for more memorable experiences. And then like just a last little bit. Also architecture, school and work brought me a certain sense of like graphic design, a sense of like organizing information on things, you know, doing some research, due diligence and stuff like that. I think all of that kind of feeds into it, and I think everyone can also speak to, you know, what they bring that helps the operations of the band just go much more smoothly. But yeah.
I was just gonna add to that and summarize like kind of each person's individual and external influence into the band. So we have a lot of comedy and just humor in the band. We have a lot of soft, quiet but confident energy as well too. Like we have in the composition and when we perform, you will feel that the longer you get to know the band. You will see a lot of, you know, in the songs, there's the humor, there's the banter across the stage as we perform, there's the confident bass solo where it's like you don't hear anything from Moraine the entire night. And then he slams out a solo where we're all just like, whoa, what is, like, you know what I mean? Like, but like I'm saying, like, you know, with Jesse playing the trumpet or Sean very confident in his bluesy scales or Tatiana with the vocals and the percussion, like everyone kind of brings their individual self confidently to what we produce and put out to people to listen as Undecided as a whole. So you'll hear in our songs, people will laugh or react to certain lines that, you know, we'll rap or sing about, because that's just when we're writing the songs, we're cracking jokes, we're roasting each other, we're saying all that stuff. So
I think I love being around people, and I like being around people. I like entertaining. I like seeing what makes this person smile. What does this person like to hear? How does this person like, you know what I mean? I like, yes, like when I'm writing, if I'm writing something and like sing, I write a melody, I look around and I'm like, oh, did he like that? Did she like that? Did he like that? Like how are people reacting? And I feel like I also do that outside of life. That's how, I don't know, I'm just always like entertaining and learning about people, because I feel like you, especially as a singer, you need to learn what people like to hear and like to see, and then I bring that into my music and like my art. Like this year, like this is our first, can I just say that this is our first year in music, and every month we've had like a show or two or three, and we work full time, but we have to take care of ourselves. It's like, where's the time to sit down and record?
Not even accounting for rehearsals as well.
Exactly. Like, you know what I mean? And there are 8 of us. So finding time that works for 8 people is like insane.
How do you do it? How do you pull
Like,
it off? Is there sometimes rehearsals where only some members show up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To Pinky's point, like we tallied up the amount of gigs that we played versus the amount of months that we've been a band, and I think we average about like 1.4 gigs per month. So it just gets like a lot, because like Pinky said, like we all have full-time jobs too, you know? And so we're trying to fit in whatever music time that we can in the cracks of like sleep, work. We just try and find like feeding yourself and, you know, transit to work or whatever it is, right? And it's been very difficult, but like the gigs it's a good problem to have, that the gigs have been rolling, where we've been very active, and, you know, we've built a bit of a movement to a point where now people have an appetite for, okay, but where's the music out? And to that point, we actually made a big push to record like the drums for the first 8 songs that we want to put on an official album, because recording the drums is like the most laborious task of recording, because you have to mic it. Yeah, you have to mic so many different things, and there's just so many things that like you need like you can't do that, because Sean is our producer, right? We kind of go through the production in like their apartment, and but we can't do that with like an actual drum set. We need to actually go in a studio and record that and have the stems and everything. So it was kind of like this whole thing that we had to coordinate, and we do have those stems recorded. That's like the biggest roadblock for us to get like the songs out. Now it's just a matter of like cleaning it up, right? Like we're also very perfectionist in terms of like what our music wants to sound like. We don't want the first things that we put out to be like rushed, you know? Or kind of like a you know, a shoddy production quality just for the sake of putting stuff out. We've been busy with gigs, and we've been building a following, and like we're in a privileged position to be able to just, when we put something out, it's going to be an event, you know? That's what we hope for, at least, right? Like the fact that people are like, where's the music? Where's the music? Where's the music? It's like, haha, I got you. Now you're waiting. Now you're anticipating, you know?
Definitely make it an event.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be something kind of exciting for I hope for the city, you know, for the community, like, oh shit, Undecided dropped something. That's crazy. Yeah, they finally dropped something. So we know that there's a lot of bubbling expectation there. So we just want to make sure that like things are as good as we can possibly make them. Also, you know, paying respects to like our busy work-life schedules, you know, budget constraints, right? We're not going to be able to afford like a $10,000 per hour studio type of thing with like, you know, a Grammy nominated engineer or something. But shout out to SAD though, like SAD, that's where we recorded.
And
you know,
Alchemy Studio. Shout out to
yeah,
Alchemy.
SAD and Alchemy, those have been the studios that we worked at. People there have been nothing short of like professional, courteous, and accommodating in all sorts of ways. And yeah, shout out to them. It was a pleasure to work with them. Yeah. Anyway.
I was just gonna add as well too, like we have work and music, but a lot of us also do other stuff as well too. Like we got photography, videography, we got people that coach, we got people that, you know, working out for them is also like part of their life. We have people, so balancing all of that, it all adds into the expectation, like when are you guys gonna put out music, that there's so much for 8 individual people. It's enough for one person who has a busy schedule to like, you know, sit down and make music. But to Julio's point and to your point as well too, the band has a general consensus that we've always wanted to put on music. Like if we could just snap and like all the songs we perform live is right there for you guys to listen to every single time, we would do that. No problem. Like we got no problem. Like that's not the issue. So yeah, it's coming for sure. It's in the works for sure. Yeah.
In the show, there's this part we like to call horror stories. And I like to ask everyone who's on it, all the guests, about their horror stories, whether they're painting, whether they're making beer, whether they are, whatever they're doing, whatever craft they're doing. So as a band, what has been your horror story that really stands out to you? Something that really things went wrong, but there's a catch to it. There's a catch to every horror story, and that is that each one must have a lesson that you learned from it and that you improved upon. Yeah.
No. We'll set the scene. We'll make this as ambiguous as possible. So it was on a very cold. This is like a podcast moment right now. So if you're listening or watching, just close your eyes. We're gonna set the scene. It was a cold, very very cold November night. Very cold.
This November or last November?
Last November. Yeah, last November. 2024, November 2024. The 26th.
Make it ambiguous.
Yeah. Never mind. Anyways, it was one of the months in 2024 that just happened to be cold. And we had run around gathering musical instruments for a performance that we were very excited about. That was going to be the very first. And we had a lot of prep beforehand, a lot of rehearsal beforehand. And we'd gone around the city telling people about this as well beforehand. Now, as a band being excited, we show up to this dark, very cold setting, and it wasn't what we expected. But we had all this excitement, and it was one disappointment over another. And as the disappointment rose, the excitement dropped, and it was still cold, and we struggled to find parking.
Snowy.
And it was snowy.
Very snowy.
Very, very snowy. We had to shovel snow, by the way, which we don't like. But without going too much into specifics, this was one of the very first times that Undecided ran an experiment, Frankenstein type experiment. A lot of it was new, and it just didn't work out the way we wanted to. But there was a lesson. We learned, going back to your question of how busy we were, that we spent a lot of time and energy into building this experiment, that when the day for the experiment came about, we didn't have time and energy to perform the experiment.
Yeah.
We had spent a lot of time putting everything together, or being very careful here. And when this day came, you know, we completed the experiment and we were just like, yep, that's done. Like there was so much build up and anticipation to it that we got to the end of the cliff and we were just like, wow, this is a big drop. Like this is not what we expected. It wasn't. So with that, I don't know if you guys want to add to that. That's as vague as I can make it.
Yeah.
I think what we learned, like what it taught us, was how to budget, how to plan smart, how to move smart, how to market smart, how to cross all the T's, dot all the I's, like have paperwork done, just how to go about things differently, like very differently, and like have like be as specific as possible. I think for me that's what like it really taught me.
Sorry. I guess for that too, we learn, because we're still very new, that we learn how each other's strength, not just musical, but like organizational wise, because we're in a band, like we need to organize things, and we have to like getting to know, who's good at like organizing things, who's good at planning, who's good thing at budgeting. So that was actually a really good time for us to learn each other's organizational skills outside music.
Do all of you guys contribute to making the lyrics of the songs?
Ooh,
I don't at all. I hit stuff.
When I heard it was like 8 people, I did ask myself, I wonder if 8 people are in there writing their own lyrics and then it all just comes together, or how does it work?
If you want, I'll answer while you cough. Give you time to catch yourself. I think for the vocalists, like definitely there's some stuff that like maybe there's an idea that we're working on outside of, you know, Undecided, or maybe just in the shower morning kind of thing, like, or in the moment we'll start playing a riff and like there's a certain type of story or vibe that we're feeling, and someone will write something to it, and we usually get approval from the rest of the band members where you say something like ooh, or it's like, oh, actually no, like, and you know, change gears. But to your question, we have the vocalist that will come up with the improv on the spot as the instrumentals are going, based off the vibe that we're feeling. And sometimes there's songs that are, you know, pre-written, or some ideas that you're already working on, or John's like freestyling about, and we kind of make something out of it. So
I will chat a little bit to that. Another thing in terms of like the lyrics and the songwriting that helps a lot is that we seem to have like prodigious talent in just freestyling. John is like a savant when it comes to freestyling, like he just never stumbles. Pinky can make anything catchy, you know, she's a fantastic chorus writer among many other things. But and Mo, I think you're kind of like a Swiss Army knife, you can kind of do a little bit of everything, you know. And I think a lot of that, you know, that ability to improvise and make a song on the spot comes from just jamming so consistently at Alcove, right? You know, it's great practice to just always be continuously like making new stuff on the spot, right? Like making songs catchy. Pinky, like you're talking about like what the audience is reacting to. Like every time that you go and sing at Alcove, like the song just makes more sense. You know what I mean? And like you can feel the crowd just being like, oh yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. And so continuously keeping like our blades sharp in terms of like improvising, just knowing what things work. Like I don't know, it's just like it's been actually a really easy process to like make songs. You know, it's not been very difficult at all. Everyone is kind of cool with the lyrics because like you just come up with it so fast. It's like fucking ChatGPT, you know. But like human, we like humans, you know.
Human ChatGPT.
Human chat. The way it was meant to be, right? You know, with authenticity and everything. But yeah, I'd say that the songwriting has been very, very smooth.
She's done now.
Okay. You want to say something?
Yeah. I feel like when I write, I ask you guys for feedback. I'm like, does this sound good? Like, what's the theme? Like, how does this make you feel? And then I'm like, okay, that helps me write. And then when I have my lyrics, I'm like, okay, how does that sound? Do you guys like it? Does it fit the vibe? I always like feedback because feedback is what makes it feel even like better or sound better. So so you guys do help me when I write. So.
Are there any particular stories that come to mind when you're writing those lyrics? What inspires you to write them?
That's a good question. I kind of just listen to what they have, and I listen to how it makes me feel, what I'm feeling that day, or what someone else is feeling. I kind of like embody that character or that emotion, and I just let it out. Just whatever comes out, comes out. I kind of, so funny enough, when I write, I let my soul kind of take over, or my spirit kind of take over. It's kind of like an out-of-body experience. And then once it has a melody or a lyric or something, then I jump back in my body and I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And I just kind of follow it, honestly. I'm like a vessel, and it just comes and I just let it out. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting to see the process and interesting to hear how it all comes about. And the fact that a lot of people, it's hard to work within a band. It's hard to find the chemistry between people. Usually bands have around four people, 5 people. You guys have 8 people and you're all collaborating together.
Yeah.
That's an achievement in and of itself.
Yeah.
Seeing how it all comes together and seeing how each one of you still brings a part to the puzzle, and it still fits. That's amazing.
Yeah. One thing I like that we always do, we take care of each other. Like when we're doing music, when we're not doing music, and it's like, I think it really helps us. We listen to each other. That's one thing that we need. Communication. We're big in communication here. So
Before I let you guys go, I do want to touch the subject of the word we're not supposed to say for this episode. We'll just call it the vibe, the style. The
G word. Generosity.
The term neo-soul has been thrown around in this episode, I feel like, more than 10 times already. I wanted to ask you, where was the first time that you heard it here in the city? What really got you into it from a local perspective?
For me, actually, from Alcove, just Alcove Jam. There's a lot of neo soul. I mean, I guess depends who is like hosting, but that was my first time that I was kind of like, oh, Calgary has this music. I was really surprised because I was in Ottawa before Calgary. And to me, it's like, oh, Calgary has my taste of music. So I was really surprised by that.
And I suppose before we delve further, for some audience members who don't know what neo-soul is, I don't want to ask a straightforward definition. I prefer to ask, what bands or what artists would you consider neo-soul?
Yeah, Sade for sure.
And you guys can kind of throw names out as well. Sade, like you're looking at a lot of like the late '90s R&B type stuff. Like you have D'Angelo, rest in peace. You've got Sisters of Voices. Like there's a lot of I think for me as an instrumentalist, before even the words come in, a lot of the instrumentals and the chords and the bass vibe for neo soul is backgrounded off jazz and a lot of soul music. There's a bit of blues licks here and there as well too, but like slow down, right? So I think for us as a band, I don't know if we necessarily have a neo soul band that we know of. Like we're not actively looking for. I think maybe individually as musicians we know, but for myself, I think even more currently right now, like I'm looking at just thinking through like my Spotify, there's a lot of stuff from like Daniel Caesar has some new stuff. I know some people hate this, but Jacob Collier is a legend. Like I think if anyone,
why do they hate this?
well, they hate this because as a pianist, I always bring up Jacob Collier and what he does because he's amazing. So Julio's always like, shut up. But the reason I say that is because there's a lot of stuff that I think similarity wise we have with him where he just doesn't care about genre. To your point, he just plays, and each album is a representation of different aspects and genres of music. So he's done some neo soul stuff with some legends, like you've got Herbie Hancock, you've got Stevie Wonder, like you've got I'm trying to think, someone just passed away. All these people, they're amazing. I can't think of names right now, but anyways, I'm gonna keep rambling.
Another reason why I think like neo soul is somewhat popular is because like when you're playing at Alcove, it's hard to get people going and to invite collaboration if you're just going freaking loud all the time. Like we're gonna play some metal. Like no, you know what I mean? Like you're not wrong for wanting to play metal. It's just that space doesn't invite a lot of like ideas to have their space, right? With neo soul, R&B, the like jazz funk, that whole bag allows for a lot of space, allows for a lot of creativity, allows for nuance, allows for subtleties, allows for vocalists to perform, allows for instrumentalists to perform. It's kind of like a catch-all sort of, common denominator music style that just helps different ideas get across. It's like a root system, and then branches go everywhere from there. So I think we started off as that, but like Mo said, like we're not I don't think we're directly inspired by like, oh, we're gonna emulate Sade for this one.
Right.
You know, it's more like, oh, I probably heard something like that from a Sade record one time, but it's a very unconscious process.
Yeah.
But that also always invites people to do their thing and kind of contextualize it to make it sound good, you know, and it'll sound like intentional, sound good. You know, we're not just gonna start. I'm not like my background is like heavy metal, death metal drumming, right? I'm not going to start blasting double bass, you know, and just overpowering everybody just because, oh, you experiment, you know what I mean? Like there's a bit of like of you know, engineering there that's required. But yeah, I think neo soul is an effective way to get everyone to contribute equally, I think. Yeah.
Having so many experiences and going through so many different, you know, journeys throughout your lives, I do want to ask you, what does success mean to you?
For myself, I think success is being vulnerable in every aspect of my life. So whether it's music, whether it's family, whether it's personal, one thing that I have been maybe journaling, writing more on my personal life is when I pass away or when I leave this world, what do people think of me? Right? Like the clout, the materialistic thing has never been something that, and not to brag, it's never been something that has bothered me, but I've always been concerned about, you know, when you leave the room, what are people talking about me? Like, you know, what are they saying? What's the perception they have of me and that kind of stuff. So for me, success is being able to go to every single room and be my most authentic self every single time. So whether it was, you know, with Undecided, or whether it was working, or whether it's coaching, or whether it's, you know, playing sports or whatever, across the room, if someone said, hey, have you met Mo, or have you met Mosiah? Like, yeah, I know that guy. And then you say something's like, oh yeah, what the heck? That's the same. Yeah, he does, bro, he did the same thing. He roasted me. He like, you know what I mean? Like I'll roast everyone. Like, but I think for me, that is success for me. Like, and as it transcends to family as well too, building a stronger relationship with my family is me being vulnerable as an adult now, where, you know, the childhood experiences that I had that may not have been exactly the best to shape a quote unquote healthy young man. Success for me now is being vulnerable in that space for the rest of my family members to see, like, you know, that's okay. And you can be vulnerable in that space as well too. So I think for me, that's where I sit right now with success. Yeah. You can pass it down.
Okay. For me, it's hard because there is a long-term kind of like success and there's also the short-term success. So for like example, for doing a show and stuff like that, I would say the success is like, do everyone enjoy it? If I enjoy it, that means that's already a success because we do have the horror story. That was just not good. But also I would say success for me, it's nice to kind of like hold accountable. It's not just our band that's like, oh, everyone is happy like in our band only, but it's our kind of like client supposed to say like the person who invited us, are they happy with our performance and stuff like that. I think that's important as well. Do like people enjoy it? If everyone's happy, I would count that as a success because there's a lot of people say, oh yeah, the success is like money and stuff like that. But there's a lot of performance that we did that we were much more happier. We felt like this is like such a great show when we didn't get paid. And I would say like, yeah, like Outcast, like that was such a really great performance for like literally everyone. I think we had such a great time. And that was one of the, I think I would say the most successful gig that we've done.
For me, success is when my art heals people. I think it's something I always believe. Art is healing. Art 100% healed me. It's what got me through my life. So if my art can do that to someone else, if my art can even make like someone smile, like have a good time, that's success to me. I like spreading joy. I like making people feel good. So yeah, that's success for me.
For me, I think my success is kind of similar to more as to being vulnerable, but in a way that, let's say we're all being a success as a band, as a person individually. I just want people to be able to talk to us, not put us on a high pedestal, because we are still the same as an individual. Like the way we go to alcove and play with everybody, I just want to be like that, because I just don't want to be like on the peak alone, or just with just 8 of us. Because we all come from like somewhere, like individual.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think all the definitions of success here are super valid. I think for me, I think success is when you're able to do more of the things that you love versus the things that you don't love. I think you're living a successful life when you're just continuously feeding your passion, continuously in a like optimistic, happy mindset. You know, I think that like there's so many different variables that you have to juggle in life overall, right? Like there's just so many things as life goes on, things get more complicated, things require more of your focus, your attention. And those moments when you don't have to worry about these things and you can just kind of be in like a pure, like authentic, unconscious self almost, I think that's like the flow state, that's success. And I know for me, whenever I play drums with Undecided, whenever I play drums really, but especially being on stage with Undecided, I think like that's, you know, the highest degree of success I've experienced, whether it's a paid gig, whether it's not a paid gig. I like paid gigs, obviously. It's great because then we can fund other things, right? And we can keep this train rolling. But just being on stage there and just being like unconscious, that's success to me. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Yeah. I wanted to thank you for being part of the show, for coming. I know it's a morning, it's a Saturday morning. You guys just had a gig, but I really appreciate you guys showing up and just telling the audience what you're all about, being here, sharing your music experiences, sharing your horror stories. always welcome. Yeah. Well, thanks again for being part of the show, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Well, and that wraps up another episode of StoryHive On Location Calgary. If you've got a story and want to be featured, don't forget to scan the QR code and apply to be a guest on our show. Stay tuned. See you next time.